people will not anticipate my number one.
Not anticipated?
These people will not anticipate the number one.
Woo! Yo, Jungle motherfucking Beats.
2016 though. Jungle Beats Radio. We're gonna do our top 10 albums of the year right now. I think we'll be able to provide a somewhat unique perspective on this because we're not just gonna include hip hop. And at least I won't.
I'm including other genres as well. Maybe one other genre in there.
One or two other ones in there. Firstly, it was really hard to pick these 10 because there were so many albums in this year.
Dude, I know.
There's so much shit to sift through. And this is not what we do for most of our time. This is a side hustle of ours that we dedicate a small portion of time that accidentally takes up more time than we
think. Like,
anticipate.
Oh, shit, this 10's a 30. What the
right?
fuck am I going to do?
So there's dozens of albums to listen to. So yes, these top 10 could be considered more accurately, but we are not Anthony Fantano. We are not the business music nerds. We're just two guys from Australia trying to share our love.
We just love listening to good hip-hop.
Right? I digress.
Let's get into there. The 10.
Top 10 albums.
Yo, you want to start off?
Start at 10.
Okay, now start at 10.
Now, a lot of people put this in their top 5. This goes to Malibu, Mr. Anderson .Paak.
Woo-hoo! Made the 10. I'm a happy man.
He should make the 10.
He should make the 10.
Realistically, if I dived into this album more and I really liked this sound and if this type of sound resonated with me more, it would go higher. But regardless, the album sounds like a live, seamless jam session where no one hits a wrong note. And it just sounds really good.
And after so many features, the album said, hey, this is who I am. Because he did have Venice beforehand, but no one really was listening to him until Malibu. So it was like his entering after all the features.
And this is my first full album I listened to from Paak. Well, actually, I listened to an EP, but I don't count that. So, yeah, great album, great sound from start to finish.
Yeah.
Same as Yes Lord. It's really good.
Ready for my 10?
Let's go.
This was fighting with so many other projects for 10, man. But after listening to just every of them, this is what I stuck with. Schoolboy Q's Blank Face LP.
Oh, it's 10.
It's 10.
Okay.
It was higher up at the start of the year, but as the year rolled by, I noticed that like there were just a few, probably 2 tracks on there that I just didn't really like at all. And it just was like, fuck, like the rest of the album is so good. Like Schoolboy Q's lyrics on this, I think a bit of a notch up from Oxymoron, but I think the beats in regard are a bit of a notch down compared to Oxymoron. I mean, there's still a lot more going on because he's going for something a bit more, I guess you could say, Twin Butterfly-esque. Still his own sort of thing, but it had that more of jazz instrumentation to it compared to the more banging beats that were on Oxymoron. So I preferred Oxymoron, but I still really dig this album. I love the direction which Schoolboy Q's taking. But I really hope the next album he does, maybe take off a few of those tracks. Like keep it like Oxymoron was, 10 tracks. Yeah. I love a good 10 to 12 track album that has no filler. If it's 17 track album, like the Kid Cudi album, like 19 tracks, and there's like 3 or 4 tracks I don't like on there, it ruins it for me. I'd rather them just narrow it down. But Schoolboy Q takes my 10.
Number 9. Jazz Cartier Hotel Paranoia.
Very nice. I thought you'd put that in there.
I love the album. As you said last week, the hook. Did you say something about the hooks?
I said it's the catchiest album of the year.
The catchiest album of the year.
I still stick to that.
Opera. Oh my goodness. If I had the
Phantom
album,
of the Opera.
Every song has a. I could replay it. It's got great replayability. 100%.
And you're just like, I can't stop this.
My Bitch a Prima Donna just easily sticks out. Really great albums, start to finish. Got a great sound. He's from Canada, I think. Toronto, maybe.
Yeah, he is.
So another great Toronto, Canada native coming out. Jazz Cartier did his thing. Did not expect this to be in there. He's an up-and-coming artist who created a great body of work.
Boom. My number 9, it's an artist who I've been listening to for a long time, from Chicago. But I didn't expect to like this album as much as I did, considering his past work has been all right. It's Kembe X's Talk Back. I feel like this is his best album yet. It's slower than anything he's ever done, because normally Kembe X is just going to give you a lot of bangers, like from his past soundtrack to Armageddon, with tracks like Village of Everything and the title track, like he's always got some big bangers. But on this album, you can say 10 Feet Tall's a banger. He just sort of goes more to storytelling, a bit more about his past, his family, what he wants to do, like. And the beats, I think, are just really mellow. It keeps to a very Chicagan sound if you're familiar with Chicagan hip-hop. And I think that, there probably was like one track on here was like iffy about, but the rest of it, flawless. Because for those who don't know, I was, for Christmas, I listened to all like 20 albums on the way back to just make sure that what I was thinking was correct. And like, it's how I really felt. And this, after listening to this one, I was like, oh, is this as good as I thought it was? Yes, it was.
Ideally, that's what I'd love to do. But now you got an accurate list.
Yeah.
Probably more accurate than mine.
It's all
But
good, man.
number 8,
Okay.
the Sun's Tirade.
Woo! Rashad. I'm glad that's there.
Rashad. He's gonna be in there. This is an album that just feels fucking great.
It feels
It
amazing.
feels great, and I do prefer the first half / 3/4 more than the last portion of the album. But regardless, it's a great summery feel, great vibe, great energy. It just makes me feel good. I did not expect to have such a positive reaction. I didn't really replay Sevilla Demo. I didn't really pay back his past work. I listened to it once and that was it. But this one really resonated with me. Loves the sound and direction. Great job, Isaiah Rashad.
Yeah, his style was absolutely amazing all over this thing. I'm going to go straight to my number 7. Or 8, sorry. It's Danny Brown with Atrocity Exhibition. This is an
Thought
album.
it would have been higher.
You thought it was going to be higher?
Yep.
I got a lot of albums, man. Yeah, I got into this album. At first listen, I was very iffy about it. I was like, because it was, I liked it because it was very similar to a lot of his past work, but then there was a lot about certain sounds and hooks where I was just like, it was just so different to me. And I feel like that this is an album is so much better than tracks because it just flows really well. Like all the sounds just complement each other track to track. And especially like the single with what was the one with L Sweatshirt, Kendrick Lamar, Absol, absolute banger.
And really, though?
Really do. White
Really,
Lines, White Lines, the style on that, and then Ain't It Funny?
Yeah.
That goes ham, like, and even the closes. I just think it was just an amazing artistic album, and it belonged there. And yeah, it's not higher up just because there are times when I listen to it, I'm not in a certain mood for it. But one thing I will credit this album is it actually felt like I was on drugs. It gives you that. It gives you that feeling,
like Absol.
Yeah. Like as I was listening to it, I just felt this complete different feeling, and he actually makes you feel something that you might not have ever felt before listening to music. So that's amazing for an artist to do.
Fuck, you know what I just realized?
What's that?
Absol probably should be in this top 10.
Ooh.
He probably should be.
Ooh.
I'm looking at this list. I'm like, where does he fit? It needs to be a top 11. Jesus.
It's just been a good year, man.
Absol is. I understand for those who love the album. I
Do
like
what
it
thou
too.
wilt.
I like it too. Really
Do you
deep.
reckon it's in mine?
Yep. Albums 7. The Weeknd, Starboy.
Ooh, I thought that'd be at least 5.
7.
Tell us why 7, Mr. Sandalis.
Really, these can be interchanged.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
numbers
Always
are
gonna-
arbitrary. But it's number 7. He's reinventing a new sound of pop, right? And R&B. And that's what I feel on this album. And that's why I like it more than Beauty Behind the Madness. And
You like it more than Beauty Behind the Madness?
I think so. I haven't re-listened to Beauty, but so it's not 100. But
That speaks measures.
the title track is great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tracks on here that are quality. There's some fillers. There's some ones that I could skip.
Well, that's the reason I didn't get it in there.
There's ones that I could skip.
Mhm.
But overall, I respect the direction. I'm speaking about it now. Maybe this shouldn't be as high, but I'm going to stick by it.
Stick by it, man.
The Weeknd's an incredible artist, and he's pushing himself in a new direction creatively with his music videos, creatively with his sound. He's reinventing himself time and time again, and he deserves a spot in the top 10 for the way he's approaching pop.
Boom. My number 7, it's an artist that hasn't released an album before. Fans have made mixtapes from her singles that she's released.
Who is this?
She is from Chicago. She's done a lot of work with Tte Rapper, which first put her on the board on
no.
acid rap. We're
Go
talking
ahead.
about Noname,
Go ahead.
previously known as Noname Gypsy. Her album Telefone, 10 tracks, short and sweet, and she has this beautiful sound on this album. It's like really, and even her lyrics are beautiful. It's about sort of like her hometown, about her one of the tracks, "Baby" by Baby, about like the baby that she didn't have, and if she still had it, what it would be like. And I just think that she has this really happy, like even when she's talking sorrowfully, she still has this happiness about it. A lot of artists don't have. Like a lot of artists will drag you into the depression, but it's kind of like helping you through it. Where she's just like the opposite of that. She helps you through it, but through a whole different way. And I love the instrumentals all over this thing. Really great beats, really great features too. A lot of the features I don't even know who they are, but just some of the hooks. Saba did this thing on the last track, Shadow Man, really great on there. So there's not a bad track on this album, and I really like it.
Noname. Great
Noname.
talent.
Mm-hmm.
6. The Life of Pablo, Kanye
Oh!
West.
I thought that was going to be top 3.
It's not top 3.
Oof.
It's hard to make a top 3 because, like, which Life of Pablo do you rate? My Life of Pablo, my
do you
iTunes
like?
is probably different from your one, and probably different from your one because there were multiple versions of it. Because I like staying completely up to date, I have all the versions. I have the updated title one, the latest one, that includes St. Pablo, that includes new Frank's track, that includes the little alterations. Now I'm rating my opinion, not just on that, but of everything I've seen from it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an experience. This album was an experience. Same
man.
thing like his concert.
And you saw it in the thing when cinema came out, didn't you?
I did. I saw it live, and we're thinking that's what 11, 12 tracks I remember. And man, I liked that. That was good.
To have all the people around you as well, just to share that with them, watch the
100%.
emotions around you. Like, it's just a great idea.
So I've seen it from day 0 to day 1,000.
Yeah.
And as a result, it turns to an album that is chaotically crazy, but has some amazing replayability and can bang and has corny lines that make you laugh. But even on the other side, it has some songs that make you think and that are quite beautiful, like Ultralight Beams and St. Pablo. And those are the standout tracks and the highlight tracks for me. But yeah, that's my thoughts on a little bit of Pablo.
Very nice. My 7? Yep.
6.
6? Oh, damn, we're up to 6 already. Yeah, we're up to 6. It's an artist who actually started to get famous from his poetry works. He got famous for a few videos on YouTube. He's done a bit of stuff with Epic Rap Battles of History. And all this sort of stuff that like, because I think he won spoken word poetry for Def Jam. And all this attention he was getting around this, he was just like, look, I want to do more with this. And so he started off by releasing a mixtape. It got a little bit of fame. Went to an album, to another, like Sandboard Castles, to another one. Man, I'm just building this up.
What's his name?
His last album I wasn't a massive fan of, but this album is his best work yet, in my opinion. We're talking about George Watsky.
No wonder.
Watsky, X Infinity. A lot of people would probably be like, the fuck this doing on this list? It's probably because you're not familiar with it. This is an amazing album. There are so many different sounds on this album. And I think this guy is just really smart as a lyricist as well, because he's so good with poetry. His wordplay is, well, he's got a really fast flow. He can just have certain analogies that just wrap you around your head. His storytelling is quite comedic as well. There's probably one track on this album I didn't like. It was all about foreplay and him, like, how great oral sex is for, like, both ends. The way it was, like, humorous, but, like, I just don't think it fit him because it's a very serious album. And one of the best things about this album is the last 4 tracks, which is symphonies. Like, they're just, like, really beautiful, like Beethoven, like, piano, and he just sort
Not
of...
hip-hop?
Nah, definitely hip-hop.
Oh, it is.
He raps over all this, so, like, he just follows with that, and then it, like, continues on to, like, another track, which will, like, be a slight different change. Like, tracks like Brave New World, his videos are really on point. Tiny Glowing Screens Part 3 was really good. Like, just, I really enjoyed this album. Even going back, this wasn't even really in my 10 until I went back to it, and I realized how much I really did like this album.
George Watsky.
Watsky, man. Number 6.
Halfway through the list, 5.
Ooh.
Injury Reserve, Floss.
Ooh.
They you thought it would be higher?
Nah, I thought it'd be 5.
They sneaked in there with their release. They dropped it a week ago. We did a first reaction. Absolutely loved it. Injury Reserve are one of the most talented underground hip-hop groups that are up and coming. You will hear about them. They're extremely talented. If you don't already know, check out the album Floss.
Check out their videos.
It's their second studio album. What this album is to me is succinct. It's cohesive. It's a combination of thoughtful hip-hop and rap with banging production and cohesiveness. And that is my type of hip-hop and rap. That resonates deeply with me, and I have a connection with them as well, which is another reason I may be biased. But they did a really great job, and I really enjoy listening to the album. And oh shit, it is one of the best tracks of the year.
One of the bangers of the year. Even All This Money's up there. Hell, man. You're right. It's like the beats to the mess, like, combined.
Just check out the album or
Really
reaction.
good album.
You'll see it.
I just didn't put it in there purely because it just came out so late. I've only listened to it probably 3 times.
It's tough.
It's tough, man.
But I knew.
Real good.
5.
Most of this guy's been rapping for, I think, in the game for over 15 years. I think he's in his mid to late 30s now, and he released what I think is his best body of work, and he's got, like, I think 8 or 9 unders out. Like, he's got a lot of albums. It's Aesop Rock's The Impossible Kid. And this album really, really took me, because normally on his last album, Skeleton, and his most famous album, Labor Days, he knows to use an incredible amount of his vocabulary and just twist the way that you think, and you really have to just pay attention. And on this album, I think he dumbs it down a bit. He really does, and I feel like it's easy to understand him on this. And the beats on this thing are great as well, because one of my problems with his last few albums, his beats were always hard to me. Like, I was always more about his wordplay than his beats. But on this album, I really love the beats. And the way this album flows well is great. He starts off about how he moved away from everything, even cut off certain ties to like go back into music because he felt like he wanted to make the album he'd been planning to do for ages. Goes into like how he saw like his shrink, which is the song Shrunk, and how like told him to get a cat, and then he does a track about his cat and how they helped him. That he like goes on to like where he's at after that, and it just flows so well. And also about like with the hate, like just everything that's been happening in his past few years is on here, and it's like from start to finish instead of being mixed all over the place. So beats are on point, lyrics are on point. Storytelling, I think this is just a really quality album, which is why it's in my top 5.
I think he sounds weird to me.
You could say Danny Brown sounds weird.
Yeah. He sounded in I feel you.
I
don't feel you.
He's got a style that you gotta like. If you don't like it, you won't dig it.
It's not for everybody. But
exactly.
I've seen it before in a top 10.
Woo!
Anyway, 4. This is a special 4. This goes to 2 albums, and we can only make the exception for 2 albums because they're sisters.
Yeah.
Lemonade and A Seat at the Table. Beyonce and Solange.
Well deserved, especially wasn't really familiar with Solange. Crane's what's it? Seat at the Table, yeah.
Seat at the Table, yeah. So I never heard Solange music either. Obviously, been very familiar with Beyonce. Beyonce made a very thoughtful record. She made a very really liked the direction and the way she storytelled her music, and most incredibly, what captured me the most was the kind of music videos behind it. It's a whole movie thing on Tidal. That really made me understand and appreciate the music and meaning, production, everything behind it. It's another reason why it's there, because Beyonce is an incredible creative. And her sister, on the other hand, Solange, at Seat at the Table, it's there not because their album is there because I recognize how our culture respects it. I recognize its talent and its potential to be one of the best albums, because I just get it. It doesn't really like hit me as much as other people, but I get why it should be considered for top 10, and I put it in there to give it its respect. Put some respect on Solange's name. And great job by the 2 sisters. They're incredibly talented. And I really like the sound and direction of each one. Production, lyricism, topics spoken. Really solid quality albums.
Yeah, man. That's exactly how I felt. Like, I wasn't huge into the sound, but like I could just tell from listening to it start to finish that this was a great album that people are going to put as their number 1.
Yes.
The people that love
That's
that
what
type
I
of
saw.
music. And I have friends that have done that. So yeah, I'm glad you put it in there. 4. You've got this in your 10 already. I've heard it. Mr. Anderson .Paak, Malibu. We've mentioned No Worries would probably be in there, but it came out later. This came out very, very early in the year. I think this came out early February.
Yep.
And so a lot of these things we heard last year, like Room in Here with The Game, one of Game's best verses to date. Come Down. You've also got a few other singles. But yeah, he released a lot of it, so we were prepared for this. And he had all the hype of Dr. Dre, also his last mixtape, also featured all over the place, like his... What was he? He was on Game's album. Was he on Kendrick's album?
He's a busy ass man.
He's just been doing features left, right, center. He's just realizing he's at a position where he can do a lot. And one of the greatest things I love about him as well, he's touring always with the Free Nationals, which is his band which he's been playing with for a long time. So he's keeping that sort of vibe. And it's just a beautiful album. I play this at work. I play this at street. When I sleep, I play this to fuck. I can play this album.
Look at that.
Anywhere.
It's flexible.
Anywhere. It just has those sounds.
Yeah.
And I think that for an artist who has been around for a while to only get recognized now, this is the perfect time for him to get recognized for this.
Great job.
And I'm really excited to see what he's got for... I really hope he takes some time off, because
Malibu, got a family, a kid, so he probably will, but who knows? He's busy.
Man.
He's
well deserved.
working.
Number 4.
Number 3.
Oof.
This was tough.
I kind of want to guess these.
This is tough. This is Frankie Ocean.
Yeah.
Blonde. You didn't even put it in your top 10. Let's not talk about that.
Talk about why it is in your top 3 then.
Now, I consider... people say, why don't we consider Endless? You know, I see like that it's in a topic of conversation. People ask that question, what about Endless? What about Endless?
I'd include it in there.
Let's include it.
Yeah, definitely.
Frank Ocean didn't even market it, and I think largely because he just needed that to release that just to get off his label. And Blond is the real thing. That's why you couldn't buy Endless. You had to download it illegally. Anyway, Blond is... Look at this. I haven't included an E. There's no E on it. Blond is just a fucking beautiful album. It's... I don't really know any other words to describe it. It is beautiful. It is seductive. It is sonically extremely pleasing. His voice flows like goddamn water over a baby's bottom with silk and some other soft, supple things. It's an album you're going to come back to and always find something. You're going to uncover that rock and find some new stuff underneath it. You're always going to find something new because this album is a deep album and it's something that has a lot of...
This could be the reason why I don't
heart
have
in it.
there.
A lot of energy in it. A lot of soul in it.
Because there are certain tracks there that don't resonate with me, probably because, like, I feel it's an album that when you really sit down and just truly pay attention to it, that's when you really recognize it, which I've done probably once with that album. The rest is just sort of be in the back. So I feel like if I really probably did that more, those tracks he just said, I'd be like, oh shit, I didn't realize this before. I fucking really love this now.
And we will continue to realize that for the next years to come. But I recognize that that's going to happen, and that's why it's here, because that's just reality. It's going to happen. Anyway.
Okay. You want to guess my top 3?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know where to start.
Okay. This album came out...
I don't know where to start.
This album came out, I think, around April, May. Could be wrong. He was a freshman this year. He was a part of a group of 3 other rappers. I can't remember the name of it right now, but he was the one that was expected not to do the most. Joey Perp was in that group. And he released a really good mixtape. Released 2 last year. He released his Shrooms and 32 Zell, which I really liked the first half of that. Before that was Nostalgia 64, which I liked probably half that album. And now here comes an album which I finally fuck with start to finish. And it's Denzel Curry's Imperial.
Ooh, how you doing?
Whew. This was my top album for a long time. This man is aggressive as fuck. His beats are hard. He can flow, he can spit. Whew. ULT, by the way, is probably one of my tracks of the year. Man, he is so good. Then he releases Gook. From Gook into whatever the next track is. Then he goes like Narcotics and like the first Story No Title is my favorite track in that album, by the way. It's the first 6 tracks are bangers. 6 tracks in a row. How often do you get that with an album?
It's heavy.
With actual content. Then it goes to Pure Enough, which is the switch up it needed, in my opinion. To go to tracks as well, like the last track. So there's probably like 2 slower tracks in the album, but even now, when you go to it on Spotify and whatever, he's changed it. The Pure Enough and Narcotics are off it, and he put 2 new tracks on it instead. So he's following the whole sort of changing up and down when you feel like it. I don't listen to that version because, I just like the old version so much. But I love artists that can do that and realize this is still what I envision now. But I feel like Denzel Curry released a hell of an album.
Respect. I get it. I get it.
I don't know if he can top it, but let's see.
Great job by someone who's not mainstream, you know, to really do that. A lot of people really fuck with that. Number 2. This was tough. Mick Jenkins, The Healing Component.
Woo, so high.
I got some things to say about this.
Okay.
This is probably, I wrote it down, it's probably the most focused and lyrically splendid hip-hop album released this year. The production is incredible, and he manages to stay cohesive without sounding repetitive. He's vastly improved himself, or relatively improved himself, with his hooks, his melody, his singing, and there's pretty much no filler tracks on this album. Every track, you can see it in our first reaction, we fucked with immediately, which is rare. Compared to albums like Blank Face Sun's Tirade, Pablo, I enjoy those albums are there, but they had some fillers that could have been cut to make them better. And when you talk about the topic of love, which Mick Jenkins is talking upon, you think about, who else was talking about love? Mac Miller was talking about love with the divine femininity. How did he go about it? He talked about very sexual, very like seductive, very physical things. How did Mick talk about it? He never referenced those things. His thing was still centered around love, but he talked about something...
It's more on a just like...
metaphorical.
Yeah, it's more on a level that like just catered towards no matter who you are, like everybody,
Mm.
and not just like just in so many different ways.
Agreed.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things being said on this album. His content does require analysis, interpretation, and I will continue to keep learning about all the nuances of it. His bars are incredible. The tracks have huge replayability, start to finish. Mick Jenkins, you did a great motherfucking job.
Yeah, fucking amazing album, man.
I love playing it. I can't wait to see you when you come to Melbourne.
I'm seeing him as well. Woo!
I'll see you there. Maybe you.
Alrighty.
Number 2.
TDE. Rapper.
Did he do it? Oh shit.
He
Solo.
his last album,
Solo.
These Days, I didn't fuck with.
Solo.
I didn't like it. I listened to the first 6, 7 tracks and I was like, whoo, this is fire. The rest of the album, trash. Fucking trash. And I was sitting there going, fuck man, TD's doing their thing and this rapper's just fucking up.
Solo.
He needs to ram one out. And he came back and did his fucking thing on this thing.
Solo.
But do what thou wilt, motherfucking
Solo.
Solo Ho. Absolutely the greatest on this motherfucking album.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you.
He came through.
I feel you.
And this came out fairly late as well. And since this came out,
last
and we
week.
did it, yeah. Was it like, no, it was like,
about 8 days ago, 9 days ago.
no, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Alright, fuck it. We did the reaction late. Go ahead.
Either way, I've played this album probably 10 times since then. And every time I listen to it, it just keeps blowing my mind.
I feel you.
Just like, especially tracks like Threatening Nature. Like the first time we didn't even get many of the references when we did that first track. But afterwards, we went back to a lot of those lines and, ooh, that shit. And even tracks like, fuck. It was the track 6. I can't. Invocation. That is an amazing track. Invocation is so hard. And then also the track Drugs, which is about...
Oh, Drugs is amazing.
Drugs was so good. And his videos, for like Drugs, Braille, Raw Backwards, and all these rappers.
Raw
like
Backwards and all
which
you
is
rappers.
a great intro track. He started off with Raw to Braille to Huey New. That is a strong motherfucking
Huge.
start. Huge.
And it's cohesive with the way the sound goes.
And then the tracks like Evil Genius in between, Portishead in the Morning. Like, he's just got such a huge range of sounds in this album. And he just keeps lyrically intact the whole way through.
Beat the Case, Straight Crooks.
Oh, all I do is beat the case. All I do is beat the case. All I do is beat it like a runaway slave. That
And
shit is
so
hard as fuck.
Interesting the way he talks about theology and his beliefs. When you watch the interview with him, it's just so much more than I anticipated.
Yeah. And, fuck me.
Raw Backwards on all you rappers.
And even like some of the tracks I didn't fuck with, those like Wi-Fi versus Wi-Fi. I fucking love that track now. That is,
Oh, yeah?
that is great. The only track that I thought was iffy was God Is a Girl, but that's only the start of that. He's just having fun that start of the track, but I just felt like that jokiness wasn't needed in such an album with huge amounts of topics. But then he follows it up with some great beat switches and verses. Like, this fucking album blew me away.
Yeah, I feel
and I
it.
keep going back to it. I listened to it on the way here. I'd cut in there. I changed it to Absol because I felt like because I'm constantly feeling like this album all the fucking time.
16 tracks, you feel like a lot can go wrong, but he barely missed a step.
Yep, which is sort of similar to what you said with the Mick Jenkins album. Like,
Yep, same
more things for, that you can fuck up, but they didn't. And that's why it's there. Hold up. This is the motherfucking time. This is the motherfucking time right here. This is the number one.
Do you know?
Give me 30 seconds that we won't show on camera for me at the thing.
It's not hip hop. It's not hip hop. It's not
R&B?
rap. It's not R&B. I don't know what the fuck genre this is. It's beautiful. James Blake, The Color in Anything. Color.
Oh! That is a great choice, by the way. You fucking loved this album.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The first time I heard this bitch, oh my god, I was blown the fuck away with the sounds and direction. I'm listening to this shit. What the fuck was that? I'm like questioning what I'm listening to. Is this the real thing? Did something fuck up with the music? Check the speakers. Is something wrong? No. He just doing some crazy ass shit with his production, with his sonically, his production, his directional production is nuts. And his voice is like an angel. Came down from wherever you believe in, and just it flows incredibly well with his experimental production. I don't know how he comes up with this shit, but from the first second I put it on, I'm captured and I'm taken somewhere else. And this is my experience with the album, so it's hard to articulate into kind of like logic. But this is really something that I felt really, really deeply. Like, it resonated with me. His
Man, this man's getting emotional right now. Could you listen to this album in any sort of situation? Like, did you find you could put
No.
this on? No.
No, this album goes on when the sun's down, when it's kind of quiet, maybe even when it's cold, winter. It's 17 tracks. I'm looking at it. Timeless is incredible. The color and anything, man. This I haven't listened to this album enough, but it's had an influence on me profoundly in the time I've listened to it. Check it out. I hope it at least has half the impact it had on me to you.
And there you motherfucking have it.
All right, man, go ahead.
You want to guess?
That was a long one. Sorry.
Don't apologize, man. We want to let the people know why these are like this. Should be talking about more the further we get up.
That's true.
This man
It's a man.
has released, from my knowledge, 2 mixtapes and an album. If you could call one. You could call one of those mixtapes an album. His last album, Sylvia Demo, was fucking amazing. It was fucking amazing. He's a part of TDE.
Oh,
As well. My top
shit.
2 are TDE artists. Fucking, I got 3 TDE artists in my motherfucking top 10. That wasn't intended.
Go ahead.
Intended. Get it? Intended. Okay, fuck you. Fuck you. Anyways, Rashad, The Sun's Tirade. Fucking amazing, man. This thing blows me away every time I listen to it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. When I was trying to figure this out, I was like, this is the last album I listened to on my way back as well, because it was already pretty much up there. And there were certain albums I listened to, like, say, Absol's album, or a Denzel's album, or Paak's, and I'd be like, fuck, man, like, this shit's probably better. Like, I just feel like it's going to be there for more time to come. And I go back to this album, and then the intro comes in, where he's, like, dragging, he's like, yo, man, give me the fucking album, and he goes straight to For the Squaw. And then fucking straight to Free Lunch.
I love those songs.
Free Lunch, and it's from Free Lunch, he just keeps going. And the thing I love about this is because Isaiah Rashad has completely changed his style, like 80% on this album. Like, the sounds in this thing are so beautiful. His voice manipulation on this thing is great. The drugginess of his voice to cope with his addiction that he talks all over this album is there. So many rappers will add, like, say, extra energy or extra emotion. He has that, but he also has the voice to match it as well, which just adds that little extra, just fucking knock on there. So you can hear everything go. I feel like that if you were struggling with these things, this is one of the best ways to sort of cope with it, if you are, because you can just hear everything going on. And he talks about how he manages with that, and that's how this album came to be, because he was going to get dropped from TD, or he wasn't going to do it at all because he was struggling with so much, and all of that came together in this beautiful fucking album. And that's why it's number 1. It's just,
Yeah.
I have so many good memories with this, like road tripping, camping, just at home, out with friends, and a lot of my friends who don't really love hip hop love this album.
Now that's something special.
Mm-hmm. When I went to work for my friend's bar about a week ago, he put on the fucking album.
In the bar.
Yep, in the bar. Why the fuck
dope.
not?
That's dope.
Fuck yeah, it was great. That's my number 1. Isaiah Rashad, The Sun's Tirade.
There we go. Top 10 albums of the year.
Yeah.
2016. Jungle Beats Radio. Australia's plug for the best, I say, hip-hop in the world. This is really music in the world right now.
Music in the world, man. We just love music. We just happen to love hip-hop a bit more.